Okay, here we go. What's up, Tony? One second, just gotta reload my overlays so I can get the correct viewer count in OBS. Hazel doesn't quite go burr yet. Okay, that did nothing. Alright, whatever, doesn't matter. So I sort of fixed the absolute garbage that was Ragdoll mode. Not entirely, but if we take a look at this guy, we have a rigid body and a capsule collider on the hips, and we have a rigid body and a joint on the spine. And if I simulate, he does in fact go flop. So he no longer freaks out. Okay? And the problem, as it turns out, was that rigid bodies basically always converted their transform component to be in world space, but most of the engine kind of expects local space. So I just had to add these two lines and it fixed it. Also, I'm getting a bit sick. Got a bit of a cold. So don't think I'm gonna be streaming as much this week as I did last week. So yeah, in theory, if I now go and give it a ragdoll component and generate the ragdoll, we should get something that resembles some kind of ragdoll-ish. So if I give it ragdoll, guess maybe that one, and generate. Nope, that's still weird for some reason. Let's restart it. Okay, I'm gonna start building it up manually, because actually, no, never mind. I had an idea and I don't think it's really relevant. Because like if I have this, it works, and the spine has one as well, and that obviously creates flop. What if we give these two rigid bodies, dynamic and configurable joints with the hips connected, and we make sure they're not breakable? What happens then? Okay, interesting. Also, why am I not seeing the collider? What? Will we see some confused Peter at some point? Yeah, right now, because I'm very confused. Why is it down there? What? Oh, okay, no, wait, that could just be the debug rendering. Possibly. Because it could, the debug rendering could be expecting world space. But getting local space, possibly. Which, because if we go into c.cpp under get world space transform, specifically the matrix version, when we have irrigibility, we just do this. We use basically the local space, what we think is world space. Wait, what? No, I'm confused. I'm very confused. Do we need that? Yeah, pretty much confused screaming, yeah. Oh, why did I do debug? I'm just gonna try to do this and see if it fixes it. If it doesn't, I'm gonna start up the physics debugger. So did I save that? Yes. He looks like he would be in a lot of pain. But the debug rendering is now correct. And I'm assuming it is correct. But like here's kind of where we would probably want to use, for an example, a hinge joint for this kind of connection. Because we'd only want it to rotate kind of around the local x-axis, like this. Obviously, like, we can sort of rotate a bit around the z-axis, but not by much. So we could use a configurable joint and say limited, yeah, whatever. What if we use the hinge instead? Here. Whoa. Okay. Maybe because they're breakable. Yeah. What? What's up, Igorsek and Pixel? Cool animations. Yeah, definitely animations. They're actually joints. Physics joints. Why is he doing that? It's probably because we don't have any rotation limits enabled. What is he doing? Whee! What the hell? Unit is like 0.7 megabytes for a texture of RGBA 353 by 512. Because that's 8 bits per channel. So what's that, 2 bytes? No. Sorry, 1 byte per channel. So that's 4 times 353 times 512. What is that even? That's supposed to be like 706 kilobytes. What? Alright. That's interesting. I don't know how productive I'm gonna be today, to be honest. There's some... I don't know. I'm tired and a bit not super well, so also, why isn't the joint debug thing happening? What are you going to do now? I would like to sort of try and manually configure this dude to be a ragdoll. And see if I can get that working. Because when I give it a ragdoll component, it freaks out. So there's something not quite right. And I don't know what it is. Could be because everything gets set to locked, but it's very good, yes. Okay, so if we say that this is locked, because it's like, why is he freaking out like that? There's some like super weird forces happening. Could be because of mass and stuff like that. If we give this mass like 2, the spine like 0.5, and the legs like 4, maybe. What happens then? Why do they want to do that? Why do the legs just want to go into that weird pose? So yeah, it's gonna be a pretty chill stream, I think. It could be that the actual local frame matrices are incorrect now, that I changed how we store the transform. So if we go into physics test, no, joint testing, and we have a look at these. I mean, they look correct. Or do they? Yeah, they seem correct to me. I think. Okay. Let's try maybe doing some more accurately scaled colliders here. And then for the leg, because the thing is, the origin of these bones are at the start of the bone, I think. Right, so for an example, size of the hip bone goes from this point to this point. And the upper leg goes from this point to that point, right? So not only do we need the collider to be the right size, we need to have an offset. So like that. Yes. Let's copy this one. Go to right up leg. And paste. The spine doesn't have one yet. This collider should technically start there and be like very small, but I think in this case it's not worth having a collider on every kind of spine bone, but I'd rather have it be maybe on, how many do we have? We have up to that one, at which point we get to the neck bone, so maybe on spine 1 we have the collider, right? And we scale that down. And then it freaks out probably because of this collider, because we don't have a rigid body. So okay, let's create a rigid body, make it dynamic, give it a configurable joint and connect it to spine. Say it's not breakable. I mean, the collision is definitely more accurate, but it's also... Whoa! What? Oh shit, where am I? Let's stop. There. Okay, so after a while he just starts getting bigger, apparently. Yeah, what's up with this? Spine 1 just starts scaling out of control. Okay. Interesting. Why the fuck you did? What? What the fuck? I'm so confused. Okay. What could possibly be causing that? What could be causing that? We never do anything with scale in the physics system. I mean, possibly this, because this does deal with scale. We could potentially have a different function called like transform point or something. Can you render all of the colliders at the same time? Yeah, I can actually. It's not the default setting, but I can. If we go into the settings to basically tell it to show all physics colliders at all times. So I can go show physics collider all. And now we can see that. But I think it might actually be this convert to local space function. Possibly. Because that goes... kind of depends on the order that this happens in, I think. Yeah. I think it could be this, causing the scale to go completely insane. Which is annoying. But why? Why does that happen? Is the question. Because if we go ahead and say that spine 1 will not have a joint, it won't have a rigid body, and it won't have a collider, but this one will have a collider, then I don't think that happens. And we move it up to there. Yeah, then it doesn't happen. Scale is not changing for any of these. Not changing for any of these. So that's very interesting. Okay, let's maybe focus on trying to figure out why on earth these are ending up in the wrong position, right? Because it's instant. And that's most likely due to the joints effectively calculating their local frame incorrectly or something. I mean, that's a bit better. The breakdancing. Why no joint component? On what? You mean on the hips? Because the way it's gonna work is basically we connect from the bottom up, right? Instead of from the top down. So yeah, we created a breakdown config. Could it be this spine causing problems? What if we just do goddamn cat. What if we just do the legs and have the collider on the hips? The way you break it is really sick. Yeah, I'm actually, it's kind of hilarious to see how it breaks in so many different ways. What if we do this? I see, still freaking out. That doesn't look comfortable. Yeah. So I think X is correct, and it's just the way we calculate it that's wrong. I literally think that's the only thing. Or it could be the rotation limits causing weirdness now. Because maybe it snaps to some weird angles. Oh! Well... yeah, we can definitely tell it's the local frame because that should not be rotated backwards. So... okay. That's gonna be interesting to fix. So it's this. I'm wondering if I do isn't it easy to understand what is going on while all colliders are rendered? No, because it's not collider related. Is the thing. It's related to the rotation of the actual physics joints, right? And we currently cannot visualize that. So, what if we try this? So it's not got anything to do with the colliders, because the thing is, the colliders of the joints cannot collide with each other, right? Actually, can they? Ooh, maybe they can. Hang on a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna try this, and if it doesn't work, I'm gonna try changing the size of the colliders, because it could be that because these two legs are not connected to each other, the colliders could possibly still collide with each other. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, aren't they currently related to one another? No, they're not connected to each other in any way. They're connected, both connect to the hips, right? And so none of them should, you know, these two colliders cannot collide with this collider because we haven't enabled that, but they could possibly still collide with each other. Right? Which, well, okay, so the rotation looks correct now because the legs aren't bending backwards. But let's maybe try making the actual colliders really small. Well, 0.2 is fine there, but let's go like 0.05. For these, so they can't possibly be colliding with each other initially. And let's do show colliders on top, right? Like they could not physically touch right now. And they're not. Still looks weird. Yeah, still looks really strange. Okay, I'm gonna launch the physics debugger. Just so I can kind of scroll back and see what's actually going on there. Let's see if this works. Okay. Now these two should not be capable of colliding with each other. I think. Maybe they can. No. You can see it's... Okay. Yeah, no, it is in fact the joint that is the problem, because it's rotating around the opposite point. Because you can see the left leg immediately starts going to the opposite side. Alright? So this is why this tool is incredibly useful, by the way. Makes it very easy to see exactly what's happening frame by frame. So that means this line actually didn't fix shit. Right? All it did was kind of make it compensate for the rotation being off, I think. It means these are wrong. Again. Which is slightly annoying. Okay. So we do this. Now I think the legs are hinge joints, so exactly the line we put the node, yeah. So, okay. Let's just try something here. What if I do just this, right? Which is the local transform, effectively. I don't think that's actually correct, but I just want to try it. And I didn't have to launch this in debug mode, I don't think. Oh. Hello. Thank you. Oh, hang on. Did that actually sort of fix it? Let's make sure to have that selected. Well, yeah, no, that didn't fix shit. Just looked less broken somehow. But I kind of didn't expect it to fix anything either. So means this is wrong. Because surely fixed it. No, not quite. Okay. From what I could tell, the translation looked mostly fine in the first. No, actually it didn't. Maybe I need to reverse it or do an inverse. Possibly I could have to inverse it. Because I remember one of the examples that I looked at did in fact inverse the matrices. So we may have to do something like that as well. And I think the only reason I didn't need to do that was because, I mean, this shouldn't fix anything, by the way. This is just gonna be even weirder. Peter, can you come to HR? There's a cake for you here. The cake is a lie. Yeah, and I suspect that did literally nothing to fix anything. But if we do inverse, that could possibly fix it. And I hate the fact that the physics visual debugger just shuts down randomly. Here's an idea. If I tell this to be static, that makes it a hell of a lot easier to debug. And yeah, that's not correct. Isn't inverse basically just orientation left right hand and swap? No clue. Probably, yeah. Oh yeah, you see that's still weird. Let's save that, keep that static while we debug this. And let's actually go to release because that's gonna make it way easier to debug it. So, that means... Why did I build that? Okay. Could be that we need to multiply this in a different order. Maybe joint rotation first. Multiplied by that. This is kind of where I'm a bit unhappy about the fact that I'm not super comfortable with matrix maths. No, that still doesn't look correct, although I think it looks a bit more correct, maybe? It does look a bit more right, but I don't know if that's just my imagination. It could, of course, be my imagination. So this is the left, which is correct. Yes, you can see it's still on the left, it's just rotated in the wrong order. Like it's rotated 180 degrees. But it is in fact positioned in the correct place. So, okay, I can work with that. Could it be that joint rotation should happen after parent transform get rotation? And I think it might be. Or maybe we just need to account for it up here. Possibly. But the thing is, the x-axis should be a kind of the default with no rotation. Can I do this? If we don't account for anything like that, I mean, it should be 0, 0, 0 either way. So, I don't see why it would cause that. Wait. Aha! What's this? Should it be parent transform yet rotation? I don't think so. Let's have a look at what it used to be. Because I have a feeling that should be a child. And I don't know why I said it like that. But let's just roll with it. Why is it parent transform? This is the child's local frame. I don't think that's correct. At all. That's better. We're getting there. Slowly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to uncomment some stuff, that joint kind of rotation stuff. But that's mostly correct. Bring back joint rotation, which shouldn't be anything. So I don't think that's gonna make a difference, but slowly but surely, we're making progress. And this shouldn't change anything, yeah, and it doesn't. But I mean, like, yes, the legs are kind of rotated weirdly. Not sure why. If we have a look, we don't have any limits set, so I don't know why that would be. Okay, so there's a weird rotation happening somewhere, I think. Could be because the hip is weirdly rotated. For some reason. Why? Maybe that's just a rotation. Because I don't think this will be... Yeah. Let's not say that. So there's definitely a weird rotation, but I don't know if that's because of the rotation change that I did, or if it's because of the fact that the entire thing has a weird rotation to it. But let's just try restoring the rigid body to this one. Oh, now obviously there's some weird collision stuff happening because the leg colliders are weird. But that is... Oh yeah, right. Show them on top. Okay. Move them down a bit to there-ish. Change this back to 0.1. And now we should have a much more, realistic collision for the legs. Okay. Yeah, they're not entirely symmetrical, and the thing is, for all I know, the weird rotation that happens could literally be because the skeleton itself has a weird rotation to it, and somehow that's not accounted for. But we should definitely try and account for it. Because I assume this is correct. It has to be. Right? Because if I change it back to parent transform, then it's just gonna look not correct in any way. What if you made editor functions for components such as box collider method that can wrap around a bone or something? Like you could just do get offset from bone. The problem is there's like the animation system doesn't have a way for me to do that. Like I think, well, that's not entirely true. I could technically do something like that, but it's not really super like viable right now. Okay, hang on. Because, like, what's up with these rotations? Like, you can see the leg does have some weird-ass rotations. Because this isn't correct. Which means this has to be correct. Maybe the way I did it before, right? Like I had this. Maybe that is correct, it's just I was using the wrong rotation up here. Yeah, the starting rotation is a bit annoying. Because I was using the parent's rotation for the child transform before, so maybe this is... didn't really change anything. I'm probably gonna have to have a word with 0x as to why, like, if this is due to the rotations of the of the skeleton, or if it's due to like how I would even account for that. It could be the anchor location as well, possibly. Try to recenter everything. That's gonna be super hard, because in order to recenter, I basically have to manually tweak. Like, first of all, I can't actually do that during simulation mode, because there's no way for me to take away control from physics. And in order for me to try to predict the correct rotations, like, that's not something I'm capable of. Actually, let's... Possible that the anchor location needs to be tweaked, and that could be the reason. Because right now the anchor location is just... Oh, come on. 1 second, I need to get my headphone chargers. Here we go. Okay. So I could try and tweak the anchor offset here. Right? So... Well, yeah. No, because it is rotated. Right? Like, we can see that the local x-axis is like rotated down a bit. So I don't think it's the offset. I mean, if we try -0.5 for that and like 0.5 for this one, that does nothing right now. Yeah, there's some weird ass rotation. Just gonna try something real quick. Like, either way, I'm happy because, like, we've gotten a lot further than we did before. It's just... doesn't look exactly the way it should. Or at least it doesn't look the way I expect it to. But it's possible that it is entirely correct. Oh. Wait. I inverse the rotations, and that makes it look good. Somehow that looks... What? Yeah, I actually didn't expect that to work. And I'm worried that it's not. What if I do this and do this? Yeah. Oh, what's up, Jan? Hey, man. Yeah, just try inverting the matrix until it works. Yeah, because I'm scared that it's not actually correct and it just happens to work in this case. That's dodgy. Also, here's the progress. I mean, that definitely looks correct, even when it falls. Almost went to HR. This is very interesting. Let's try it with another leg. Alright, so rigid body, collider, dynamic. What joint makes sense for? Doesn't John pay you enough to be even modding in the chat? Well, I mean, he's rarely able to watch. Also, isn't it like kind of late in Australia? I feel like it is. Hang on, they're about what, 8 or 9 hours ahead. So okay, I mean, it's not too late, I don't think. So that wouldn't be like a hinge joint. Definitely makes sense for the knee, I think. If I was Peter's mod, shouldn't he be paying me? I mean, I am subscribed to you on Twitch, so I do technically pay you some of the money that you pay me each month. So it kind of just goes around, except tax and stuff like that, so I guess not really. It's 10:51 p.m. Yeah, wait, what? That's... plus 10. Okay, yeah. I should never try to manually convert time zones because I suck at it, because I always read like 14. Yeah, Twitch takes 50%, exactly. Diminishing returns, sadly. Yeah, hinge joint definitely makes sense for a knee, I think. Why am I not using multi-component, like multi-entity editing here? Hinge, capsule. Alright. Dr. Snuggles, thanks for following. But hey, Peter, don't worry about it being late in Australia since you stay up so late anyways. Yeah, I mean, I'm hardly one to talk about staying up late. Okay, that looks correct. Don't want them to be breakable. Okay. Let's turn these off. Yeah, we should probably enforce some rotation limits on this guy. Because your kneecap shouldn't bend inwards. So that would be these. Seems natural, yeah. Exactly. Well. What was that? That doesn't look quite right. The legs got bigger. Yeah, I think... Again, I think that's the same reason why it seemed to scale up. Well, while one of the bones seemed change the rotation a bit. You mean like the rotation limits so he doesn't like break his kneecap? I just want to try something. Let's see. Is breakable. Yes. Okay. Doesn't look right. Yeah, I don't think these should ever be like breakable by default. When we actually do start kind of generating a ragdoll, because that is gonna look weird. But yeah, I should probably tweak these a bit, because I can bend my knees more than 45 degrees. Problem is I can't visualize these, so if I just try changing the upper limit, what happens? Okay, no, that's how far you can bend them forward, I think. Let's do -90 here. Yeah, that definitely looks better. What do you mean breakable? So you can enable physics joints so that they can break, right? If enough force or torque is applied to the joint, it can actually break, and kind of that way you can have two objects that just fly apart if you smash into them hard enough. But for a ragdoll, that's just gonna look weird because the mesh will start stretching as the two entities move away from each other. I mean, that looks better than it did before, but yeah, there's still this weird issue that they just scale randomly sometimes. And I'm wondering if that is due to the convert to local space function being weird. We may need to kind of do that manually. And make sure that we always retain the same scale. Because if we do that for every parent, then eventually, yeah, there's going to be some discrepancies with the scale, I think. So, instead of just calling this directly, which will do this for scale, we should have something similar to what we did in here, right? Where scale is just never kind of... where scale always stays the same. Effectively. So For now, I'm just gonna try having like a convert to local space entity, and let's take in the physics transform. Actor transform. And instead of having this, we will do this, and then do convert to local space. Actor pose is all rotation locked, right? Well, it doesn't quite do what I want either, I don't think. Actually, we could write this in a single function without recursion. If I do let's grab this. That one actually does verify, so let's do try. Yeah. Oh. Okay. And we do wild parent. Not a wild parent, really. Well, we have a wild parent. Hang on a minute. No, I don't need to that at all. I'm just being stupid here. Because what I can do instead is call, world space transform. Specifically like the matrix one, I think. Yeah, we can do scene, get world space transform for entity. Which will return a transform component. World transform for this entity. Right, so we do make a copy of that. So we actually have like a perfect copy of the scale. Right. We convert to local space, and then we no, we don't do that. Is it that simple? I don't think so. but I'm gonna try it either way. Failed. Oh. I don't think this is gonna fix it at all, but what if I don't limit the rotations at all? Because I think it happened when I had rotation limits disabled. Well, I'm not seeing it happen, so I guess we won't know until it actually does scale weirdly. But it's actually really exciting, because now we're kind of on the way to having proper Ragdoll, which I'm super happy about. Okay. Let's maybe start working our way up the spine now. So, rigid body, dynamic. Currently this one has the collider. I'm probably gonna make it so this one doesn't have the collider. I think it makes more sense for the collider to have its origin kind of higher up, the middle of the actual spine. So give it a capsule collider. Let's just paste those values. Control P. Yeah. Because that looks a lot more correct. Okay. What joint makes sense for a spine? Because it can rotate around this and that. It can basically rotate around all axes. So it should have a configurable joint, or a T6 joint. That will be connected to the spine. And we do limited, not breakable. Let's see what happens. That definitely looked... Why is he toppling over? Is the center of mass wrong or something? Spine has a mass of 1. The hips, 1. And the legs have 4. Okay. Maybe it's not one component. Not sure what you mean. It's annoying that it keeps toppling over. Why is he doing that? Also, it looks a bit like his spine like dislocates, which is a bit morbid. Um, yeah, I'm not sure why he keeps just wanting to fall to a single side every time. Okay, let's go for the next spine. So rigid body. Starting conditions are the same. Yeah, like obviously it's deterministic, and since the starting conditions are the exact same, he's gonna do the same thing every time. The question is, why is he toppling over? Because that suggests that the center of mass isn't evenly distributed across his body, right? But like that's probably just because there's some offsets and stuff like that. Maybe he's not like even. Maybe the bones aren't evenly kind of. Maybe they're not exactly mirrored, and that way the mass sort of ends up favoring one side. Configurable joint. Connect that to spine. Not breakable. It could be because it's this bone that has the collider. Possibly. How is gravity working here? I mean, these have dynamic rigid bodies. And we can just tell the physics, like, here's the gravity parameter. Nice. Let's actually go ahead and move on to the arms, because I want to see those working. I really want to see the arms flopping around. But I suppose I should do spine 2 first. So, rigid body, dynamic, again a configurable joint, don't have it be breakable. That will be connected to spine 1. Neck, not gonna do yet. Shoulder, not gonna bother with, I don't think. Because, I mean, arguably you'd want like the shoulder to have a ball and socket joint. So were you doing a Ragdoll Stormtrooper or a breakdancer? Well, he was breakdancing previously, so pick one, I suppose. Let's do this. Give it a... No, not the shoulder. I'm skipping the shoulder. Left arm. New. Well, yeah, you kind of want a configurable joint here that has the y-axis locked. And this will be connected to spine 2. Maybe. We may have to do the shoulder or impose some offsets. Forearm, which starts there. So let's give it a collider. Like that. Let's do the forearm, which will be a hinge joint. Rigid body, dynamic, capsule collider, point. Well, nope. 0.1. Something like that. Not breakable. Which is connected to that one. Let's save that and let's see what it looks like. Okay. Horrifying. Because this one doesn't have a rigid body. This is also why we really need something that can automatically generate ragdolls and kind of get most of the way, because it's so slow to do. Okay. The thing is, I'm not getting any of the super weird issues that I was having before. There's no weird scaling going on, nothing like that. Code Pingu. No wonder the stormtroopers can't aim, they can't even stand right. Yeah. I love the fact that in The Mandalorian, they made an entire joke out of the fact that stormtroopers can't aim at anything and actually hit it. I actually found that kind of funny. Like, obviously there's still some weirdness going on here, but like, obviously the forearm should have rotation limits enabled. Maybe have it be like 90 to negative 90. Well, no. You can't bend it backwards. So, and obviously at this point you'll want, you know, the forearm, for an example, shouldn't weigh the same as the rest of the body, right? So if I go and give the hips mass of 2, spine mass of 2, 2, 2, right? And we need to tweak mass scaling as well, because that's just, yeah. but arguably the hips should actually have the most weight, because obviously your center of mass is low down, whereas in this case it's all over the place. Okay. What happens if I just move him down towards the floor? Nice. But yeah, so there's some weird math scaling going on here. We'd have to tweak that stuff. There's a lot of things that you need to tweak to get a ragdoll to be correct and kind of look the way you want it to. I'm probably not going to be doing that today because, well, first of all, I don't have that much time left. But I'm actually really happy with this. I don't know if the Stormtrooper is falling buggy or just cosplaying me sleeping. Yeah. Like, there's clearly still some things that are a bit... not quite right. But I think most of the weirdness is just coming from the rotation limits and the mass scaling parameters. Me when I fall off my bed. Just... yeah. Jesus. Like, I think one thing that we could do is like tweak the sort of angular limits for the spine, obviously, but that's something I can do when I'm extremely bored. I think for now I'm gonna go ahead and commit this. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and check that the joint testing scene looks okay. It looks fine to me. Yep, looks completely fine. So, let's go ahead and commit this. Don't think I actually made any... well, I suppose I should commit. Maybe. Don't know. So... fixed this rigid body transforms plus started creating a Stormtrooper Ragdoll. Just a rigid bodies will no longer store the uh, transform in global space. Instead, it stores it in local, like everything else. Fixed weird rotation for joints. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Several hours of work for what? 5 lines of code. But, you know, it works, sort of. Okay, you know what? Let's finish adding all of the joints and stuff like that to this guy, because I want to see him with all of them working. Spine. Yep. Hand. Don't really need it. Rigid body. Capsule collider. And a hinge joint. Hinge joint, capsule, rigid body, okay. Okay, so this actually has a configurable joint with the Y rotation locked. Yeah. So my bad. Configurable joint, Y locked. Spine 2. That one, not breakable. Not breakable. And this one needs rotation limits, presumably. Yep, 90 and 0. My God. Do a flip. Yeah, he seems to be in pain. What? Oh, I done goofed. Aha. See, I accidentally selected the mesh. It would be nice if we... Yeah, I accidentally just clicked on the mesh, which selects just the mesh object, and I moved that, so it wasn't synchronized. I should have done a shift left click to select the parent object. Okay. Why does he want to do a front flip? I don't get it. Like, maybe the legs needs more mass? Or maybe we need to tweak the mass scaling? I mean, we definitely need to tweak the mass scaling. Because... the connected mass scale, if I make that higher here... then he disappears. Oh, because we would end up setting the we need these to set the exact same mass scaling. So if we set this one's connected mass scale to say, well, if we set ours to 0.1 and same thing for the 0.1. That causes some very weird behavior. What? This is why Ragdolls are so hilarious. They're horrifying to try and get working properly, but they're so fun to mess around with. Because, like, what? It's so weird. I honestly don't think this is what Darth Vader planned. Yeah, me neither. Like, okay, why does setting connected mass scale to 0.1 make him fly upwards? What? And what's this? Oh, I mean, what? It's like it just doesn't know how to do anything. Jesus. Also, I think the music is kind of perfect for this. Why are the arms so rigid? That's not correct. So maybe do that. Well, at this point, I'm just having fun. Okay. Yeah, at this point, I'm just having fun, like, messing around with... with the joints. Okay, these should definitely be limited, if anything. Could be that these limits are a bit... But it just freaks out. One thing I'm gonna try and do is go and add, call it Ragdoll, and say glides with self off, and all of these guys, every single one of them is gonna be on that layer. Right, Ragdoll. Oh, I forgot these guys. They're also gonna be on the Ragdoll layer. Okay, yeah. So it was in fact a lot of intercollision between the actual colliders themselves, causing that weirdness. Because now he just sort of falls down a lot more normally. Yeah. So it looks a lot less crazy now, which is nice. Still, obviously, doesn't look perfect, but it looks a lot better. Cool. Bit more calm and a bit more not freak the hell out. Yeah. We should probably give this a defeat some colliders and joints as well, because otherwise they just sink through. They can probably have box colliders though. And they should have a technically a configurable joint. So yeah. And let's tweak them box colliders. Oh no. I added it to the leg, not the foot. God damn it. Box collider, configurable joint. Okay. So we want to start by offsetting them in the Y direction, like that. Let's make right, so now that's fine. It's a bit annoying that they copy the bone rotation. Would be nice if we could have like an override for it, but hey, it's whatever. Okay, remember to make it dynamic as well. What? Oh, they're breakable. There we go. Oh, he did a little jump. I'm having so much fun with this. Okay. I'm actually gonna go ahead and clip that. Because that is funny. Clip. Okay. Clipping that. That's hilarious. Yeah, we'd probably want these to have a physics material that, like, makes them not as bouncy. And would probably want them to have a lower mass scale. Oh, actually, hang on. That could be because these guys are not on the correct physics layer. So they do actually collide with themselves. No? He still does it. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's lower the mass scale. See what happens. Yeah. Definitely looks a lot better. Okay. Whatever. But yeah, no, I'm actually... The weird little bouncy stuff is weird. I don't know why that's happening. Could it be because of the rotation, maybe? Let's maybe try a different collider. Let's try like a sphere. Just make it like really small and offsetted. Like that, maybe. Do we not have... No, Tinspin, also what's up, man? This is physics. Jolt is nowhere near ready for Ragdolls. At least not my implementation of using Jolt. Obviously it does support it. Okay. So, around which axis should we lock the rotation for the arm? Because I can rotate it like this and kind of like a bit around the y-axis. Well, we can lock the y of the arm. like that. Forearms. Probably should only be able to rotate around the X, which is exactly what's happening. Whee! Can you rotate colliders? Yes, physics does allow it, but we haven't exposed it. We should probably allow that, I think. Because if we go into physics shapes and we check out the box collider, you can see we pass in 0 as the rotation. So we should probably allow that. Definitely. Okay, let's give the head some joints and colliders and stuff like that. Okay, so there's the head, there's the neck. The neck bone is absolutely tiny. So I guess let's make it this one. Have that be a configurable joint with a rigid body and a sphere collider. 0.2 maybe? No, 0.1. Bring it up, 0.15. Let's make it like 0.17. Bring it up a bit more to like there, probably. Working on Hazel, yeah. Mr. Watermeal. Currently working on adding Ragdoll support. It shouldn't be breakable. And it's connected to the spine. And it needs to be dynamic. And it also has to be on the Ragdoll layer. Oh yeah. Definitely. Ragdoll, well, okay, so they're not difficult in theory. It's just a bunch of joints that you constrain in certain ways, right? But the thing is, it's hard to get the parameters to be exactly correct to achieve what you want, right? So it can be very difficult to actually make it look the way you want it to look. But in theory and in terms of the implementation, it's not that difficult. It's more using ragdolls that is kind of annoying. Okay, so it definitely looks like the spine needs to be locked in, or at the very least have a... Well, okay, no. I don't think spine should have a configurable joint. I think it should technically have a hinge joint, and then these have configurable joints. Right? Because obviously when you move like this, the kind of spinal bones closest to the pelvis moves the least. So maybe we try getting rid of that and giving that a hinge. and attaching it to the hips like that. That could maybe look a bit better. Enable those rotation limits. Did that leg do a 360? What is he doing? Yeah, he doesn't look like he's fine. Pick up their leg. Yeah, he doesn't look fine. I'm not gonna lie. Let's try changing the rotation back. Like this. Okay, there's an issue with the duplication, with the way duplicating entities work. We never go through the components and actually, like, reassign the fields, so you can't just duplicate that, sadly, and have it magically work for multiple ones. I think it would work if you made it a prefab, maybe? Well, no, actually it wouldn't. That's annoying. We need to fix that. Have you seen the GDC talk on Overgrowth about Ragdolls and procedural animation? No, I haven't. Sounds like it could be interesting to watch. Overgrowth is open source. Really? It's actually open source? That's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably head out soon. And by soon I mean, like, now, because it's almost dinner time. Ah! That's cool. I'm gonna just open that up so I have that to check out the code. So I'm just gonna commit this. Ragdoll work. I need to commit this as well. More Ragdoll demo work. Yeah, so I'm gonna be heading out. I don't think I'm gonna be streaming nearly as much this week as I did last week, because I think I may be coming down with something, so don't really feel like streaming as much this week. But I'll probably still be able to stream like once or twice. So, yes, Tony, yes. What is it? It's this button? Yes. Remember my shortcuts. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and head out. But thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate you guys staying here and watching my failures. So yeah, thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day / night, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.